to Jake Jackets. Gear up to fire the cannon and hit the ice with your host, Jay Ashdown and Jake Gehringer.
We're gonna get this going.
Yeah.
Cali trips, man, they're exhausting.
Yes, everything about it was exhausting.
I mean, it's still weird that they played on Easter. Is it not?
Did they play on Easter?
Yeah, that was Anaheim.
Oh, I was gonna say, dude, I don't even know what day it is.
Time's a flat circle. We get it.
Yeah. Most days I wake up and I'm just like, it's a day that ends in Y, and I'm certain about that.
Oh, yeah. Did you shit? First of all, did you shit before?
No.
Okay, then you're gonna end up having to hold it. Okay.
Yeah.
We're loopy today, folks. It's been a week since our last show, and
Yeah, I've been all over the place. So it's been the last couple of days,
Woo, loopy shit. Kepi Keepers, I'm gonna go first because you went first last time. I remember this because you called me out for not giving Jack one.
Yeah.
And this one, birthday Kepi for Patty Line.
Really?
I know he hasn't been in the lineup because he got hurt again. I only found that out because Lindsay said something, and I was like, "Oh, god damn it!" But yeah, the birthday boy, little celebration, and I hope he gets a big contract for that.
Yeah, I hope he does too. But mine is pretty easy.
Probably not going to happen today, as much as we would love for him to get like a big contract for his birthday.
Yeah. I think for just take his play, like for the last couple of games, I got to go with Corrali.
I was thinking that you were going to either give it to Sean or to Jake, to Beaner. Because I know Beaner had a pretty damn solid last couple games.
He had a very weird last couple of games because they paired him with Blankenberg for the Anaheim game.
Right.
He scored 2 goals in the game, but he also had like 2 really tragic breakdowns defensively.
I mean, you'll have that with the younger guys like that, right?
That's the thing, man. That's the biggest thing I hope this team figures out this offseason. I like the talent.
Mm-hmm.
Jake Bean's talented.
Yes, Adam Boqvist is talented. Nick Blankenberg is talented. But they're all so young.
And they're all very raw, I think is the best way to describe them. Whereas you've molded Zach Werenski. You've molded Gavrikov. You know what they are.
Mm-hmm.
They need to mold and figure out exactly what Jake Bean is and exactly what Adam Boqvist is. I think Boqvist is further along in that process.
Well,
and
yeah.
A lot of it's because he's had the lineup more.
He's also had more NHL time than Bean has.
Because even I think what was Bean 13th or 14th overall. He was a high draft pick, but Boqvist was the 8th. So Boqvist was even higher. Both are very talented. I'm not really concerned about that. If you have something in Blankenberg, that's awesome. If you don't, it's whatever. Yeah. I think it's a worthwhile experiment regardless, but that's the biggest thing for them this offseason is you got to figure out what you got in these guys.
But Sean actual Kepi.
Outstanding. He scored the goal in LA, scored a goal in Anaheim. Now, granted, the goal in Anaheim was just he could have blown on it golf ball style. It would have gone in from how wide open he was. But
just putt right on the lip of the cup.
Jake, just tap it in. That's how wide open. But
just a little.
Yeah.
That's all you got.
Exactly. And he's been just so freaking good this season.
He's been having a career year. You know, it's funny how like you get a guy who's been in the NHL for a while, who's always been that kind of bottom six shut down kind of guy, right?
Yeah.
But then you put him in that same role as he comes home. I think coming home has a little bit like playing for your hometown team, like Mark Giordano with Toronto too. And a lot of guys that just like come home, right?
Mm-hmm.
That adds a layer to the way you play.
It does. 100%. And I think we haven't really seen it consistently enough this year, but we saw it consistently last year in Roslovic.
Jack scoring in bunches this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, like we've said, like with Sean, just doing his thing, but chipping in way more than we're used to seeing in Boston.
Right.
So pretty solid Kepis, I would say. I mean,
I would say so.
Mine's not really like for play, but like, I mean, come on, we got to celebrate Patty a little bit today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, happy birthday, Line.
Yeah, happy birthday to him. Hope he's doing well.
I hope he's doing okay. I don't even know what this more recent injury is. If he re-aggravated something or
right.
I don't know because I can't remember when he went. I don't even remember him going out of the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was something that happened in practice. I haven't really seen much on it, but all I know is it's not going to be too long term, so I'm not so concerned about it. All I care about is that he plays against Pittsburgh.
Right. And he's probably not going to play against Ottawa, which is a shame because I just got tickets. I'm going to be going on Friday.
Oh, hell yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. Tonight they play San Jose. We're not going to have Z, and Gavin's going in for Z.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, Gavin's going in for Z. That's confirmed.
Okay.
Elvis is starting, and I think there was one more thing, but I can't remember that off the top of my head. It was just a last minute lineup or a more recent lineup update. I shouldn't say last minute because the game's not for another 7.5 hours local time.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting against San Jose.
These Cali road trips, dude, they're brutal.
They're brutal. You know, I thought it was interesting to start Berube against Anaheim because it sounded like they weren't going to start him for the rest of the year. They wanted to go with Elvis.
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
But at the same time, it's not only just a back-to-back, but 3 games in 4 days. I think
that too. I think that's why. That's
so
got to be why. It's got you. I know they said they want. I know they said they wanted to make sure that Elvis can handle this like regular starter workload.
But that's not a situation like when you get your backup next year, you're not going to rely on him to play 3 games in 4 nights. So I understand the logic, but I agree with their decision to not start him against Anaheim. And I really don't think that Berube played bad.
No.
The first goal from Troy Terry, good God, a meatball from Andrew Peak. Good God. That was just a horrendously bad pass that got picked off. I would give him full for the Mayhew goal because he was so far out of his crease and it was just wide open in front of the net.
Right.
And then what was it? The other Troy Terry goal was the defensive breakdown by Bean and Blankenberg. And again, 2 young guys happens.
Right.
But yeah, no, I felt like a couple of those goals weren't really his fault.
So maybe just like the one from Mayhew is more or less the most his fault.
I would say so. I can't really complain too much about how he played. The problem is just you just look at his stat sheet and it's 5 goals and 31 shots is never a good look. But it's like
no,
it's one of those situations where you gotta watch the game
to understand why it's
you know, it's tough. So I feel for him because
I feel bad for goalies all the time when it's fans that just look at the stat sheets and they're like, oh, he was absolute garbage. And it's like, no, if you actually paid attention to like any of the actual game or the highlights or anything, you would notice that he was mostly fine.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like goalies are voodoo anyway.
They're weird people.
I'm talking to one right now.
Exactly.
Oh man. And then the Kings game, it's just kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
that was another one of those kind of expected ones, right?
Well, I mean, you're facing a team that's fighting for their playoff lives.
Mm-hmm.
Elvis played really well in it, but you know what? You're facing a team that's they're doing everything they can to make the playoffs, and Jonathan Quick's a guy who's made the playoffs many times in his career, has won 2 Stanley Cups. He's having a resurgent year.
Total renaissance of his
And
career this year.
it happens. I'm not upset about those games. Yeah, I'm not. It is what it is. Hopefully they can squeak out a win against the Sharks tonight.
You would think. It's funny. They have. I saw this post. I can't remember who tweeted about it or posted it or whatever. But all the Michigan kids between Kent and Blank and Bordelot, they all got together for lunch before the game.
Really?
Or breakfast or whatever. Yeah, it was a story post from Bordelot, and it was just KJ and Blank.
That's awesome. Good for
Yeah.
them. They're and
good for Bordelot getting the pro contract too instead of the amateur with the Barracuda.
Mhm.
Like I know a lot of those guys ended up getting ATOs with the AHL teams with like the hopes that they're gonna go up soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was interesting, just like the timing, because he played well with the Barracuda. Is this?
Oh, that's right. He did get that
game?
first, though, right?
What?
Bordelot did get the ATO first, though, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
And I believe he played 2 or 3 games with them. It was just unbelievable.
Just like I don't belong here.
Like it was one of those situations where, oh, we're gonna give you the ATO, we're gonna see how you do, and he played so damn well in them that they were like, we can't justify not giving you your contract now.
Right.
So good for him. And if I'm not mistaken, this is gonna be his NHL debut, right?
I believe so.
Okay.
And then I think this is what game like 3 for our Michigan kids out on the road. Because didn't they play in both of the other Cali games? Okay.
They played in both the Cali games. I thought that KJ was noticeable in both Cali games. More so, honestly, I thought he was more so noticeable in the Anaheim game.
I'm very, very impressed with Nick.
Yeah, I'm happy with Nick. KJ made a really good play. He didn't get an assist on it, but just joining the rush on Bean's first goal, Roslovic was taking the puck up the wall, and he kind of, when they got across the line, got past him, got behind the D. So when Roslovic made the pass across, Bean was wide open, and it became he opens himself up, and it's a 2-on-1. Bean is looking at him, but they're playing the pass.
Right, waiting.
And that gave Bean the leverage to be able to shoot there and score. Right. So he helped Bean out and put him in a position. So even though you don't get an assist on it, it's still one of those offensive instinctive plays that you make, finding space, getting into those areas, and creating a scoring opportunity even without the puck.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that you want to see from your players, your gifted offensive players, especially.
And it's a really smart play from a young player.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I mean, we've already gushed about how gifted that Michigan program is at developing talent, but this is exactly why.
And I'm not kidding when I say it. If I were a GM in the National Hockey League, I would draft a kid from Michigan every year.
Every single year, at least one Michigan kid should go as a first rounder,
every year,
or not every year.
They're so unbelievable at developing talent. Now, granted, I think college hockey in general is a collective group, they've done a really great job of developing so many great NHL players,
At least extremely
especially in the
recently.
later rounds too.
Oh yeah, late round guys always, a lot of my guys come in the late rounds, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Like Cruz was a 4th round pick of the Knights a few years ago. Sean Walker was a later pick of the Kings. I'm still
Yeah,
sad
he was
he's been
he
out
was
all year.
5th round pick, wasn't he?
I believe Walks was a 5th round pick, yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, like Bedsy, Ryan Bednard was a pick of the Panthers a few years ago. I remember, like, I want to say sophomore year, we had 4 or 5 guys that were all draft picks at the time. I was like, whoa, this is loaded.
Yeah, these later round draft picks usually, and there's top end guys too. The top end guys will go to like big programs. So, so they'll go to Michigan, they'll go to Denver, they'll go to North Dakota,
right?
Boston College, Boston University. Those schools are unbelievable at developing the talent at the top. But then, like, you mentioned BG and so many other programs that maybe aren't like national championship contenders from a year to year basis have been really good at developing those.
A lot of our
later round
CCH,
picks.
a lot of our CCHA schools, BG, Minnesota State,
Yeah, and even just schools
Tech.
lately, Big Ten's been getting better at it.
Big Ten has, yep.
Because I look at a newer program in Notre Dame in terms of their success in the Big Ten. Brian Rust went there. Andrew Peak went there. So you get some talent there.
You're getting NHL level talent guys, yeah.
And then Wisconsin too has been unbelievable. Some of the players that they've developed.
Wisconsin and Minnesota, both of them. Well, I mean Minnesota, obviously.
Wisconsin's been great at it. You look at they've had what was Wisconsin had Phil Kessel, right?
I believe he went
and
there.
They
yes.
had Danny Heatley and Cole Caulfield. They've developed some goal scorers, man. Keandre Miller too is a recent one that they also.
Where did Kale go? I can't.
Kale went to UMass.
Kale went to UMass. Okay,
and UMass has been getting better at it too. I mean, you look at Bobby Trevino is going to be a really good player.
OSU's up and coming with guys like Carson, and I mean, I guess you could. I don't know if I want to put that on OSU or on the AAA program as much with a guy like Carson.
Well, remember he also went to Miami University first.
Oh, that's right, he did.
And that's where Corrali went. If you remember the Cleveland Monsters legend Trent Vogelhuber.
Yeah, Vogel. Yes,
he was a part of that Miami team that tragically lost to Boston University. But no, there's some really good programs that develop these kids. I mean, think about it. Freaking Union of all schools got a Hobie Baker winner in Shane Gostisbehere.
Oh, that's right.
And then the next year, and they won a national championship. And then next year, it was Providence. And they had Nola Chari and Mark Jankowski and John Gillies.
Sorry, I'm like, I should have taken a nap today. I'm very tired.
You're good. But it's the college hockey, man. Like, there's so many good programs, and they do such a good job developing players. But at the
obviously, we focus on major junior leagues, like all the OHL and the Q and the W. We focus on those for good reason.
Yeah,
because that's where most of these players are coming from. But college hockey is really, really good.
And at the top of college hockey chain is, the 5 programs that we listed are just so good. And Michigan, I think, is right there at the top in terms of developing players.
Yes. Really good from our 2 young dudes. And I hope they continue to finish. Like, I am so excited to see these kids on Friday. I want to see. Now, maybe I don't want to see that as much. Like KJ up against Brady. Like, just, oh.
Yeah, no, we'll avoid that a little bit. Who is our biggest bruiser on the team?
Biggest bruiser.
With Boone out of the lineup, I mean, who is it?
Well, that's the thing is Patty doesn't use his size much.
No, because he's not like Ovi in that sense. He wants to be the pure sniper. He's not the
Right.
And I'm fine with that. I'm not going to ask.
I mean, no, I'm not gonna. Yeah.
That way.
Curls can do it. Nyquist doesn't have to.
That's the thing. This is a team that's got a lot of skill on it. They don't have a lot of bite the way that they used to.
Well, they don't.
Now, granted, Boone does a lot of that, but
it's because they don't. They have guys that can do it. They just haven't been focusing on using that. You know what I mean? Because we've established this, that Tortorella came in and brought in all of his defensive coaching and brought in all of his physical play. And now this year has been, the focus has been opening up and playing freer and scoring more. And next year is going to be the mix of both.
Yes, and it's been a good, I think, transition. And we've talked about that, how important it's been.
Sitting at exactly 500 at 35, 35, and 6 going.
Yeah, it was just a hell of a lot better than I thought we'd be.
Oh, yeah.
But I would say that's another thing outside of just defense. I think they need a little bit more sandpaper in their lineup.
Yeah, maybe one or two guys.
Yeah, they don't need to add like 3 or 4, but yeah, just you got, when Boone's healthy, he can do it. I would add another one, just one more.
Another one. Bruins. Their opponent got announced for the Winter Classic, and it's another rehash in the Penguins.
Yeah, and
this is the Penguins' what, like 8th game outdoors?
It's like their millionth, and the Bruins have played several. Frankly, I don't care.
I don't care, really.
This is the second time that they're going to play a team from Pennsylvania at Fenway Park. Like,
it's going to be
running out of ideas, and I have an idea.
Columbus, please.
Yeah. Oh yeah, honest with you, I'm surprised that they didn't do Seattle.
That too. Because they're brand freaking new.
They love doing their typical teams over and over, but Gary, with how obsessed he is with these expansion teams, I'm surprised they didn't do something like maybe Vegas going up to Seattle for a game.
That would be so good. The 2 freshest expansion teams going up and playing at T-Mobile.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be really, really fun. Is it still T-Mobile, or did they change the branding for the ballpark?
Well, I figured they would have done it at Seattle's, the Seahawks Stadium.
Oh, at the Seahawks. Okay.
Really, that would, because I feel like just in terms of like how it's like constructed, it's a hell of a lot easier for them to do.
Easier to fit a rink in there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's easier to do football stadiums than baseball stadiums. They've done baseball stadiums, but usually it's the stadiums that are a little bit more
wide.
They're wider. They're more well-rounded on the edges in terms of like the outfield with seating to kind of give it that. But with football, you don't have to worry about it because it's literally just a
rectangle. Yeah, it's exactly the same shape, just about.
Yeah, it's basically like the same dimensions that you'd want a hockey arena to be, except there's just more space on the outside because it's so freaking big.
Right, and when you're putting the boards up, you can actually just kind of squeeze it. Yeah.
So, yeah. That's where I would have it. Either way, it doesn't really matter to me. I'm surprised that they didn't capitalize on that and give Seattle a game. Now maybe they do that with the Stadium Series game.
Maybe. I mean, okay, because the Stadium Series is for the fresher teams, right? That's where they want to expand.
Yes.
Like,
Winter Classic, they love to do the same teams over and over again.
Because it's the Winter Classic. I get that.
Yes.
That's okay.
And Stadium Series, they love to give it to the other teams that they'd like to give Winter Classic games to, but also maybe throw in a newer team.
Right.
Like, the Stadium Series, they're just like, you know what? We'll do Tampa and Nashville.
Kings and Avs was
we're not going to advertise it. No one's going to know what's happening.
Right. Ugh, I forgot about that whole debacle. Ugh.
Yeah. Oh, you know what we could also do? What about Nashville and Dallas?
Let's just squeeze this one in here. Then now that one was a Winter Classic.
Was it a Winter Classic?
That was a Winter Classic.
Okay.
That was 2020 Winter Classic. Remember that?
Well, I remember Corey Perry having to
Corey
walk
Perry's
off.
walk of shame. Yeah.
It was still one of the funniest clips ever. I
It's
did
some of
not
the
realize
best.
that was a Winter Classic because
That was a Winter
again,
Classic.
because it wasn't because it because it was
Because it wasn't
Dallas, it wasn't advertised as well.
it wasn't marketed. You're right.
Yeah, they don't market it unless it's like a team like the Penguins or Capitals or Bruins or
Ugh.
Flyers or
God, the NHL's PR.
Rangers,
Ugh.
one of the original 6 teams. You know what I mean? Like it's frustrating.
Well, yeah, okay. You want to know the frustrating thing? They hardly even marketed the Heritage Classic this year, and it was Toronto.
Yeah,
Like, what?
yeah.
I feel like they're just getting lazy with their outdoor
Well,
PR.
are.
Like,
Yeah, they are. Well, I think I
ridiculous.
think part of the reason, as far as like PR is concerned, they have to focus on all the scandals.
That too, yeah. I mean, well, now they got to add a new one with EK's trial about to start for the
Yeah.
for the termination of his contract and all that hearing that went down today.
Mm-hmm.
That went down at like 10 this morning.
Yes.
We're not going to go into it because I mean, EK9,
EK burnout.
We're so tired of Evander Kane. But Pens Bruins, fine. We've seen this show before. I wonder what they're gonna. I will say having 2 black and gold teams is kind of fun. Like 2 teams with the same color scheme is kind of interesting. See how you can, make those look nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that'll be the interesting thing from there. Is like
it's just the fashion part of it.
You know what they could do is from the Penguins, bring back like those 70s blue jerseys. Stand out a little bit.
Oh yeah, they could bring the baby blues back. Yes.
Because they already did that with
that was 2008. Or no, wait, that was
and then the 2011 one against the Capitals.
Yes.
They did 2 different versions of the blue. I think that they could take it another direction again with more so what they did in the 70s.
Yeah, why not?
It's your time to get creative, man. Why not? Unless that's their plan for the reverse retros, which also I'd be okay with.
I mean, they've already thrown, they they released a gin and juice throwback jersey for like no reason other than to have one again.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So like who knows what they'll do, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a rehash. We've seen this story before. The game's going to be interesting. I'm sure, right?
Yeah, I'm sure it will be.
Penguins Bruins are always pretty interesting games to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's getting interesting between the Penguins and Bruins right now, just in terms of the wild card.
Oh, that too, yeah.
Because Boston's more than likely going to be a wild card team.
Yes.
The Penguins might be a wild card team too. Have you seen how they've been playing lately?
No. Have they been dipping?
So since April started, okay, their first game came in April 2nd against Colorado. Okay, let's see here.
Because I remember we talked about Sid getting his perfectly round numbers last week.
They've won 2 of their last 8.
Oh, yeah, they're sliding bad.
And one of their wins was an overtime win against Nashville.
Oh, God.
Now, granted, they did.
I mean, giving up a point to Nashville is fine.
It is fine, but they lost. So they lost their last game 2-1 in regulation to Boston.
Right.
They won the game prior to that against the Islanders 6-3.
Yep.
Which is good. But they did lose to the Islanders 2 nights prior on the road in a shootout 5-4. Like I said, they beat Nashville 3-2 in overtime. But the 4 games before that, 6-3 loss to Washington, 3-0 loss to New York, 4-6 loss to Colorado, 3-2 loss to Colorado in regulation.
It's just funny to me that we get to expand more onto the NHL as a whole, starting with this episode because Columbus is now officially mathematically
Yes,
eliminated.
they are mathematically eliminated, and we'll still have a focus on them. But it's going to be nice and
yeah.
fun to cover the playoffs.
Oh, I can't wait for that. And I mean, you'll notice why here in a minute.
Yeah.
Uh,
God, it's interesting because here's the thing. They're at 97 points. They're 1 point ahead of the Capitals. The Capitals have a game at hand. So the Capitals could theoretically pass the Penguins.
oh boy.
We could get a Rangers Capitals first round matchup. And I gotta tell you, man.
Well, okay, because the Capitals and Penguins, we talk about that being like a kryptonite kind of series. Rangers Capitals is a bit of a kryptonite series.
So here's where the stand is. So, like I said, 96 points in 76 games for the Capitals. They're 1 point behind the Penguins with a game at hand. Mm-hmm. They are 1 point behind the Bruins, but they've played one more game than the Bruins. So the most viable option for them to change their matchup right now, they're projected to play Florida.
Oof. Right.
So the second.
I don't think either of those guys want to play Florida.
You would much rather play the Rangers than play Florida or Carolina. So that's what they're going to be battling for in these last 6 games of the season.
Would you call it a tank bowl in order to not play the Panthers?
I gotta tell you, Jake, man, if I'm both teams, Washington has a better shot against the Rangers than the Penguins do. And the Penguins have a better shot against the Panthers than the Capitals do.
Huh. Okay.
If I'm the Penguins, I would much rather play the Panthers than the Rangers. And let me tell you why.
Is it because you can match up skill for skill mostly?
It's one reason. You in a playoff series cannot out-goalie the New York Rangers. They have struggled. They are 1-3 against the Rangers. Their one win was a 1-0 win. They cannot score on Shesterkin.
Right.
But Jake,
yes,
the Pittsburgh Penguins have, in fact, been able to score in the playoffs on Sergei Bobrovsky.
Right. Yep. Yes, we know this. We know this all too fucking well.
I think that they would rather play Sergei Bobrovsky than Igor Shesterkin. I know that the Panthers are a significantly better team than the Rangers, but I think they match up better in that alone, that they can bury their opportunities on Bobrovsky than they can on Shesterkin. And in the Capitals' perspective, there is just it's the Tom Wilson factor.
It is the Tom Wilson factor.
There's just the Rangers are just so rattled by this guy.
Yeah.
I think that,
and I mean, I get that's why they brought in a guy like that's why they brought in a guy like Ryan Reeves to try to handle what Tom does to them psychologically. But
and just for a record here, if the Rangers were to play the Capitals, I think that the Rangers would win the series.
Yeah.
But I think that the Capitals have a better shot against the Rangers than they do against the Panthers. The same way that I think the Penguins have a better shot against the Panthers than they do the Rangers.
Anyway, we're getting way into like this playoff series when you really wanted to talk about Vegas losing last night.
I did.
You literally, that was the last thing you texted me. You're like, we got to talk about this.
Yes.
Are they going to miss?
As of right now, their playoff percentage chance stands at 27%.
Oh no!
Let me tell you something, Jake. What team am I wearing right now?
The Vancouver Canucks.
Do you want to know why I'm wearing them?
Because you think they're going to make the spot?
We have spent, and when I say we, I mean the media.
Right.
Have spent so much time talking about the Vegas Golden Knights. Ooh, are they going to make it or not? We've spent absolutely no time even thinking about the possibility of the Canucks taking it.
And the Canucks roaring it and taking it? Well, okay.
The Vancouver Canucks are 1 point behind the Golden Knights with a game at hand.
Right. And we've already seen Dallas is kind of solidifying their spot in there a little bit more.
I think the wild card spots are good because as we stand right now, Vancouver's at 76 games are 86 points. Nashville and Dallas have the same record
Mhm.
43, 28, and 5. So they play 76 games. They're at 91 points.
Okay.
I think that's out of the realm for Vancouver. And I think
Mhm.
it's out of the realm for Vegas because Vegas has played 77 games and they're 4 points behind them.
Right.
The
Yes.
only viable spot left to make the playoffs is not in the wild card. It's the third spot in the Pacific, which both
right.
Vancouver and Vegas are eligible for. So the Kings have 90 points in 77 games. So the Golden Knights are 3 points behind them with as many games as played. But if Vancouver wins their next game, they'll be at 77 games as well, and they'll only be 2 points behind them. And they play each other the second last game of the season.
That's right. They can jump them. They win the game in hand, and then they win the game against them,
And that's where Vegas is a little screwed, is because one of Vancouver or LA has to win that game. One of them is going to get those 2 points.
Mhm.
So that is an area where they're going to dip. So they had to win that game last night against the Devils. It's the Devils.
It is the Devils.
Yeah.
You're right.
How do you lose that freaking game?
And they didn't have the Devils didn't have Jack.
Yeah.
The Devils didn't have Hughes.
No, and God, I mean, did you watch the freaking highlights of the game?
I didn't.
You need to see the third goal from Jesper Boqvist.
Uh-oh.
He walks Pietrangelo. It's a good move, but still, I have no idea what the hell Robin Lehner is doing. Like, pull it up. I will send it to you right now. You know what? This is great. We'll get to see your
a live reaction to this
goal.
You want to say fuck it, we'll do it live? You want to Bill O'Reilly this?
Okay. I'm sending this to you through Twitter DM.
Okay, all right.
I have just sent it to you. It's a gift.
Okay.
So watch it.
Okay.
It's slowed down a little bit. What is Leonard doing?
Robin.
He's just standing there.
Robin, buddy. Oh, I love Robin Lehner.
I love him too, but like,
dude, I love this guy. But like, what is that? And, oh my God.
Responding with the meme of like, he froze. My guy hasn't moved in 40 minutes.
No. You want to know why I'm fucking cracking up? The first reply I see
is Adam.
It's
Yeah.
just so
my God,
funny.
it's just.
Oh my God, Adam with the chirps. I love it.
The dog. Jake, that was
this is Adam Boqvist, by the way. This is Jesper's brother and Blue Jackets defenseman Adam Boqvist with a barf and a superstar emoji.
That is. That was the winning goal. Robin, what are you doing?
Buddy. Wait,
dude.
Move. Drop to your knees. Do something.
Dude, if you just drop to your knees and just sit there, it just
if you literally just butterfly, you're fine. If you literally just
there's no reason not to do it.
There's no reason for you to just puck watch and stand there.
I don't know if he thought Pietrangelo got a hold of it, or I couldn't tell who the other defenseman was, but if the other defenseman got a hold of it, there's no reason not to go down.
Jay,
even if nobody has control, the puck can just slide, and if you're down, you can just cover it. Like, I don't get it.
Jay, he could have pulled a Mike Vernon and slid over on his feet and still stopped it.
I remember I was watching the game.
He could have pulled a 1980s goalie move and just slid over.
You need to hear the call of it. You need to hear the play-by-play call from the Devils announcer. It was hilarious. He thought Leonard stopped it.
Kench thought Leonard stopped it? No
he was just like, tries to get in on goal. And Leonard makes the save. And then Danica was like, no, it's in the net. It's one of the funniest calls ever. I was dying because I watched it and I was like, I was so confused because one, it was, granted, he didn't fully get by Pietrangelo there, but it's still a really good move. But then I see him just get absolutely, he's got Pietrangelo dragged down, even though he got by him. He's got the other defenseman collapsing. I thought he had no chance of putting it in. And then I just look, I see the net move. I see Leonard didn't go down. And I'm like, Wait, what? Oh, someone's FaceTiming me.
Maybe turn your phone on vibrate before you start recording these things, eh?
Well, I mean, my phone, it's because my laptop's connected.
Okay.
That's why. So it went through to my laptop.
Fair enough. But yeah, Vegas could very well miss. And this is, I don't know whether to rejoice or feel bad. Part of me wants to do,
I
literally
don't feel bad.
I want to do both. Literally parts of me want to do both because I feel bad for a guy like Jack Eichel, who's the big piece that they always go after the big piece.
See, I'm the opposite.
This kid's never been in a playoff series.
Yeah, and I feel the
He's
opposite.
never been any playoff
feel
games.
Great.
I know you do.
Jack Eichel.
I know you do. It's just like, dude, did you see the graphic from their broadcast the other day? He had absolutely nothing.
It was hilarious.
It was zeros across the board and 20 minutes of ice time.
It was the Tony Snell meme. My man's was just out here skating.
He had nothing in 20 minutes. Absolutely nothing.
He was invisible. I didn't notice it. So here's a stat for you. Don't know if you saw this. Okay. Jack Eichel made his debut with the Golden Knights on February 16th. Okay.
Yeah, right.
The Golden Knights record in that time. 13, 14
and 2. Yes. And the Sabres are 13 14 and 3. Dude, I've seen that tweet like 5 times just throughout today.
Just saying. I'm just gonna leave this here.
I think they could use a guy like Alex Tuck, eh?
Yeah. I tell you, man, like here's the thing. I get the frustration for fans about like the criticisms of Eichel being like, well, I mean, it's a team game. Like, he's just one guy.
Yeah.
There's a reason Eichel gets the blame, though. It's because you're making $10 million. Mm-hmm. You forced your way out of Buffalo.
You're supposed to be the X Factor player.
You're supposed to be the X Factor. And here's the other thing, Jake. You're the only guy on this team who hasn't made the playoffs. That's the reason guys like Mark Stone, Jonathan Marchessault, who missed a wide open net last night, by the way. Oh. Riley Smith, Alex Pietrangelo,
Max Pacioretty,
Max Pacioretty, Chandler Stevenson, all these guys. The reason that none of them are getting blame right now, Alec Martinez, is because they've made the playoffs before.
They have playoff blood.
Most of them have played in a Stanley Cup final of them. A couple of them have won a cup.
Yes.
You are the only guy who has not done it.
You are the only guy with a goose egg.
So I compare it to
well, because we've also seen the graphic of like, all these guys that have all of these playoff games played from the 2015 draft.
From that draft, Cirelli and DeBrusk and Cernak and all those guys.
Mm-hmm. But then you go down to the bottom and Connor McDavid has 21 games.
Yes.
Jack Eichel has none.
Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, we understand.
And those guys were 1 and 2.
And part of it's because the organizations are dog shit.
Yeah.
The Oilers and Sabres have been really bad.
They've been so much worse than they should have been by now.
But you have to question your role in it.
Yes.
McDavid's made the playoffs a couple of times. He's won a playoff series. So he doesn't have the criticism to the extent that Eichel does because Eichel's never made it.
Because Connor McDavid isn't the problem.
Exactly. I'm sorry. If you're Jack Eichel and you've never made the playoffs and you get traded to a franchise, an organization that's never missed the playoffs, and you miss,
it's kind of your fault.
You gotta look in the mirrors. You got to look in the mirror.
Yeah.
And you got to question what it is. Because I'm sorry, I know they've had injuries, but they're for the most part, they're fully healthy. They got Robin Leonard back. They got Petrangelo in the lineup. They got Martinez in the lineup. They got Braden McNabb in the lineup.
Stone's
Shea
back.
Theodore. And then Eichel, Stone, Patches, Stevenson, Smith, Marchessault,
Dadonov. I was just
like Janmark. Dude,
yeah.
what the fuck are you doing losing to the Devils?
You basically have everybody. What
more do you need? It's ridiculous.
Dude, it's weird too because like Jack had, we know he has championship DNA from college. Right?
Does he though? He made it to a title game. They lost the title game.
maybe that's maybe.
I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what it is with this kid. And I'm not willing to say that it's all his fault. It's not all his fault. But at some point, you gotta shoulder some of the blame.
Oh yeah.
He just comes across as the kind of guy who doesn't want to do that.
Well, no, and we saw that with his return to Buffalo.
Exactly. And that's the frustrating part about it. And
but
this
then
is part of why I said I'm not sure I like this trade for Vegas.
Well, then we also know that Vegas also isn't the most loyal organization in the world. After 3 botches, the 3 prime examples: Marc-Andre Fleury,
Nate Schmidt,
and Dadonov.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 3 prime examples of just not showing loyalty to your players.
And here's the thing: it's a business. I understand. I can appreciate the cutthroat nature of we're not going to go so far to be loyal to everyone. You can't be loyal to everyone. I'll make my best comparison here. I'll make it to football, okay? Because I have a lot of friends who are actually Michigan fans. Here's the difference between Michigan and Ohio State, okay? Michigan for years was a good football team.
Yes.
And they could dominate teams who did not have the talent that they did. They could murder Rutgers and Maryland and Illinois and Indiana, teams like that.
And Purdue and
Purdue, yes. And part of the reason is because their defense was really good. They played a lot of man-to-man coverage under Don Brown, the defensive coordinator. The problem is when they would play against Ohio State with the unbelievable receivers they would have, they would get fucking torched every single time. And they didn't make adjustments because it's what they did. And so many fans started to turn on Don Brown, and Jim Harbaugh's loyalty to him almost got him fired. He kept his job. They signed him to that extension where he was making less money and whatnot. And he decides, I need to make a change. He goes out, he gets Mike McDonald. What happens? The defense changes, new identity. They finally beat Ohio State.
Right.
And the 1 year Ohio State's defense is not up to snuff with Kerry Combs as a defensive coordinator. They get run over by Michigan. 1 year. Don Brown was at Michigan for a long time. They finally make the change. They finally win the game. Ohio State loses 1 game. They got a new defensive coordinator immediately. So that's the difference. But the problem with Vegas is not, and this is what I like about Ohio State, it's not burning a bridge.
No.
This is a business decision. We got to do what's best in our best interests.
Right.
For Vegas, if they thought what's in our best interest is getting Jack Eichel and, we need to get rid of some caps, so we need to get rid of Marc-Andre Fleury, that's fine. That's a decision you got to make. I had no problem with them trading Marc-Andre Fleury. The problem I had is him learning on fucking Twitter.
The problem I had was what Bill Foley said to him.
Yeah. They just...
he was going to retire a Vegas Golden Knight.
Yeah.
He was promised to retire a Vegas Golden Knight, and look.
Yeah. Now he's in Minnesota, which might be best for him. He's actually going to make the playoffs.
Right. And Vegas won't.
I'm sorry. That's the ultimate karma. Marc-Andre Fleury being in the playoffs and the Vegas Golden Knights not being in the playoffs is the ultimate karma.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm happy for him. But that's my problem. It's not the fact that they're cutthroat. You got to be cutthroat, Jake. 100%.
Yeah.
but you got to be human in it.
There's a difference between being cutthroat and being just shitty.
100%.
And I hate that shitty is, the word I used, but I really don't have a better term for it.
Yeah, same. I don't think.
You mentioned, we've talked about this with Chicago's scandal, and Evander Kane, and whatever else that's been tough that we've talked about on this podcast, but like lack of a better term, right? And Vegas has just been shitty.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't know what other words to use, and shitty, I think, is probably the best word to use. They don't. They don't deal well with people, and this is part of the problem. I understand from an organizational standpoint, your players are your assets.
Yes,
you're moving them around like chess pieces to try and win a championship.
Yes, we understand. We understand that fully.
100%. And you have to, look at them from that standpoint as assets. But when you're dealing with the people, you need to make that distinction when you're talking to them and you're trying to make these decisions. You still got to treat them like fucking people.
Yes, exactly.
They don't do that well.
There's a writer's comparison, like a writer's saying that that has always stuck with me because I'm a writer. It's writing's hard because like people think that you have to use the most eloquent and amazing and big words. Sometimes the best word to use is ass.
Yeah.
Like seriously.
Yeah. No, that's one thing I've learned as a writer through my time in college is sometimes, everybody likes to think that it's, you got to, come up with, like, as you said, the eloquent words and the big words and make everything sound fancy. And it's like, nobody wants to read that shit. Just say it as it fucking is. That's the number one thing I've learned in college is just fucking say it. That's it.
Right,
just
exactly.
Say it.
Speaking of just fucking say it, and Minnesota. The Ryan Hartman fucking like flipping the bird to Evander Kane. I know we didn't want to talk to Evander Kane, but like,
oh no, I'm fine with talking about this.
Oh yeah, because Hartman did what literally everybody wanted to do. Hartman did what literally anybody wanted to do to Evander Kane.
Yeah, so Ryan Hartman has cracked my top 5 favorite players in the National Hockey League. Seriously, what a guy.
So it was what happened? It was just like it was a scrum or like some penalty.
He got into a fight.
Okay. So they got into a fight.
And they're separating them. And
he just completely flips the bird.
And so he gets fined for it. And
he got fined like $2,500 or something.
Yes.
It was a small fine. It was just like because he got fined for unsportsmanlike conduct, which literally even in beer league, who doesn't want to fucking do that to your opponent?
So, my friend Kaylee, her tweet blew up about
because of course it did, because she's Kaylee.
Yeah. So she was the one who
literally shout out to Kaylee. She's awesome.
Yeah, she's the one who tweeted the screenshot
of Hartman,
Anna Kane.
Of Anna, right?
So that's Evander Kane's ex-wife. She sent Ryan Hartman money to pay his fine, as did so many other players.
So Anna Venmo'd, and a lot of fans Venmo'd in order to pay for this fine. But then Ryan a few days later.
And this is so fucking.
This is king shit right here. Yes. This is the most like generous king move I think I've ever seen a player pull this year.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All of the money that he got sent from Anna and from fans, he came out with a statement saying, listen, I appreciate all of this. I'm going to pay for the fine with my own money, and all of your guys's, donations, essentially, I'm going to donate into hospitals and charities.
I love this guy.
It's just,
I want to hug him.
I know this is a Jack Campbell kind of move, isn't it?
Oh my God. The only difference is there's no way in hell Jack Campbell would ever flip anybody off.
No, exactly.
There's literally absolutely no way he would ever do it. Even Evander would just be like, he would come up with like the kindest insult ever.
Jeez,
I'm not a fan of you, sir.
Jeez, man, thanks for the welt. I appreciate that. I get enough of those as is.
Man, but no, Ryan Hartman, man, he has become
Hartman.
And dude, what a season he's having.
Dude, he's had such a good year playing with
Kirill
Kaprizov, man.
I know that
Kaprizov just set a Minnesota record for goals in a season.
Previous slap by who?
Shit, I can't remember. Gabrick?
Yep.
Oh my God, it's been that long?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I know that he's not in a contract year, but he's got 31 goals, 28 assists, 59 points. For the love of God, next year, somebody give that man a blank check.
Yeah.
He deserves it.
He needs to play. Well, I mean, he needs to match this next year or do better.
I don't care if he doesn't match it next year. Still, if someone give him a lot of money, this
Seriously,
guy deserves it.
Invest in this guy because we know Chicago didn't. And I mean, Minnesota was like, yeah, we'll take him. And lo and behold, look at what happened.
Everywhere. It was from Chicago to Nashville.
He was in Nashville for a while.
He was in Philadelphia too. I don't think. Did he play any games for the Flyers?
I think I only remember his all of his Central Division stints. Because literally he's just bounced around the Central Division. I wouldn't be surprised if he signs with the Blues or the Stars. You know?
He played 19 games with the Philadelphia Flyers before joining the Minnesota Wild.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, no, this it's kind of funny how it worked out. You know, God, they traded a lot to Nashville traded a lot to get this kid because they thought he was going to be a breakout star and it didn't happen. But you know, it's happening with the Wild now, so good for this kid. I love him.
Hartman, like I said, he's division hopping, right? This is kind of weird.
100%. Ryan, if you're ever in Columbus, hit me up. I'll buy you a drink.
Off to you, bud. Yeah, we'll get a drink. So I was teasing this. I'm wearing this guy today. Camera. I'm wearing this guy today. I just bought this jersey last week.
Mm-hmm.
And I already fucking love this thing. I love it. It fits like perfectly, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you know this. Just about everybody gets Austin Matthews.
Mm-hmm.
And Mitchie's my guy.
Mm-hmm.
The big reason why, we know Austin's already hit 100. Mitch is tied his career high already with 94 points with like 7 games left.
Yeah, he'll hit 100. Interesting thing is, where's he at with goals?
He is at 34 goals. Mitch
got 7 games left, right?
Mitch can shoot. Mitch has been, dude. We know that Mitch can pass. His favorite thing in the world is passing the puck.
Mm-hmm.
He leads the team in assists with 60.
Mm-hmm.
And the next closest is like, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's like nowhere near that. Right? Let me
probably is it Riley?
Let me double check this. So leaders on the Maple Leafs. Okay. Mitch has 60, leads the team. Mo is next, 55 with 55, and then JT with 48.
Okay.
In terms of points, Austin Matthews 102.
Mm-hmm.
Mitch Marner 94, which is crazy in its own right. And Austin's hurt. So
Alexander Kerfoot is having the quietest 50-point season I've ever seen.
I know. Willie's got 74.
Good Lord.
top 3 points.
Good
and then,
Lord, man.
and then the goal scoring. Dude, do you want to know how crazy the goal scoring is with Austin? We know he's going to hit 60, hopefully, right?
No, he's going to hit 60.
He better come back soon in order to do that. He's got 58 right now. Mitch is second with 34. And then Willie's got 31.
Jeez.
Austin has almost double the amount of goals that his next closest teammate has. And it's his setup, dude. It's the guy that I'm wearing the jersey for.
God.
They play the Flyers tonight.
I had a question for you. And this is a topic that I think a lot of Leafs fans are talking. I think we should talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
You're someone who watches the Leafs a lot. In your personal opinion.
Me? Sure.
Okay. What team of the 3 most viable teams to play would you want to play the most if you're the Leafs? Would you want to play Tampa? Would you want to play Boston? Would you want to play Florida?
If I'm the fans, if I'm a fan, I want to see Tampa Boston because that's a tale as old as time.
Tampa
right?
Boston?
Or Tampa, Toronto Boston.
Yeah.
I want to see Leafs Boston if I'm a fan because that's, exercising demons, hopefully, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm Keefe, if I'm, if I'm Shanny, if I'm Dubas, if I'm the players, I think even with Vasilevsky in net, they have a better chance against Tampa.
I agree with that. I think their best chance is against the Lightning. And part of the reason I think their best chance is against the Lightning is because it would be the first time, I would say, since against the Capitals, that it would
they played someone different.
Well, it would be that they so very clearly are the underdog. Because they weren't a true underdog against the Bruins in 2018 or 2019. It was very much toss-up in both.
Yes.
They were favored against Columbus. They're favored against Montreal.
Yeah.
I think playing against a team that has won back-to-back Stanley Cups, they're definitely going to be the underdog. And I think the underdog mentality is what they need.
They needed, the last playoffs against Montreal, and I want to say even the one against Columbus, they talked about killer instinct, right? Especially in the All or Nothing documentary. Yes. They talked about a lack of killer instinct. I think having an underdog matchup against a team like Tampa can help you dig inside of yourself and find that.
Right. I agree with that. The other thing is having won back-to-back Stanley Cups. At some point, there's got to be some mental and physical exhaustion from just how many games you've played.
Well, you also got to think about the way the schedules have been for those cups because, first season they won it, they got cut short and came back cold in a bubble, right? Didn't have their captain for it. And then you only get 3 months until you start again and you're playing less games and you're sprinting throughout the season just to get one in.
Yeah.
And now you go into this and you're trying to slog your way through a longer season again.
It's just, that's part of why it's so hard to win. It's hard to win back to back.
Yeah.
We've rarely seen it. The Lightning just did it. The Penguins did that. But before the Penguins did it, we hadn't seen it since the Red Wings did in the 90s.
And then before that, the Penguins again.
Yeah, in the early 90s.
And the last team to win 3 in a row was
the Oilers.
No. It was the 80s Islanders when they won 4.
Didn't the Oilers have a three-peat at some point?
They won in 84, they won in 85, they lost in 86, and then they won in 87, and then
Okay, so that's where I'm getting. Okay, so
they won 3 and 4.
Okay, I thought they won 3 in a row, but lost the 4th. Okay, no.
No.
So yeah, we haven't seen really 3-peat since the Islanders 4-peated in
No,
the
exactly.
early 80s. I think that, yeah, I think
With the way the game is
Leafs,
today,
if I'm the Leafs, I think because they're not going to have the advantage in goaltending in terms of Campbell versus Vasilevsky, but I think that just the hunger too, because the Leafs, there's so many narratives out there that they can't do this, and there's got to at some point just be a mentality of we want to shut everybody the hell up. Whereas the Lightning, they know they can do it. They know they can do it. They have the desire and the hunger to do it, but the Leafs should have a stronger desire.
If I can quote Steve from like the latest Dang It's or Hat Picks or whatever, if they can switch that flip.
Yeah. I think that their best road is honestly through Tampa.
But you also need to remember that these big guys need to show up.
They do.
Austin needs to show up. We know Willie can show up. Mitch has to show up. JT has to show up.
It's not just those guys, showing up.
Mm-hmm.
For the first time, they need to not have Jake Muzzin suffer a catastrophic injury in the playoffs.
That too. Jake needs to stay healthy.
Good Lord. What has he done to deserve this? Just weird play after weird play and weird injury, man.
Fluke play.
If he can stay healthy, God, they got a chance because he's done it before.
He's done it twice before.
Yeah. God, he's such a big part of it.
We know that he's like their playoff X factor on the back end.
He is. When everybody is healthy, Jake Muzzin is the best defenseman the Toronto Maple Leafs have.
Yes.
He's more reliable than Morgan Riley, although Morgan Riley's excellent offensively.
Absolutely.
He's more offensively gifted than TJ Brody. He's got more skill to his game, more speed to his game than aging Mark Giordano, although Mark Giordano is unbelievable.
Gio's been awesome.
Gio's been great. Justin Hull, LOL.
Poor Justin.
Are just, they're young kids. Like Jake Mussin's their best defenseman.
Sandine and Lily, yeah, like you said, they're kids. And then there's Bush, who's
I do like Bush.
Yeah.
You know what? Bush is an X factor if you face either Toronto or if Toronto faces Toronto, either Tampa
blue and white scrimmage.
If they play, whether it's Tampa or if it's Boston, he's going to be the shutdown guy in front against the Lightning. Against the Bruins,
he's going to be
his role different. His role is you need to irritate the living shit out of Brad Marchand.
Yes.
That's what his role is.
We know that Bush can do both.
Mm-hmm. They also have Simmons. They also have Clifford. But as far as the defenseman's concerned, your goal is to wreck Marchand's shit.
Wreck his life.
Mm-hmm.
Make his life miserable.
But that's what it is. I think the best chance in the playoffs is again. I don't think they have much of a shot against Florida because Florida is the Maple Leafs.
Florida's just Florida, oh my God.
What Toronto does, Florida does better. That's why I don't like him against the Panthers. It would be a track meet that they would lose.
It's literally they're the same team, but it's just Florida is
just gross. Boston, the demons are there. I think Toronto can beat Boston, but I don't think they can beat Boston until they win a playoff series.
They need to win the mental battle first.
if they can get over the hump of a playoff series, like if Toronto were to face the Lightning, okay,
Yeah.
and they were to beat the Lightning and then face the Bruins in the next round, they would beat the Bruins.
The Leafs have the kind of skill matchups to, at the very least, keep pace with Tampa.
They do.
I think, because if you're healthy, you could put Austin against Braden Point any day. You could put JT against Stamkos and Cirelli any day. You could put Mitch up against Cooch any day. You could put Willie against, throw a name out there, you know?
Yeah.
100%.
They can outskill the Lightning.
Simmons can fight Pat Maroon, who's like the heaviest player in the fucking league. And he just fought Ross Johnston, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I genuinely believe that, though, man. Like, if the Leafs can win a series, especially against a team like Tampa, but they just need to win a series in general. If they win a playoff series, they could beat Boston.
Yeah.
But they can't beat Boston first.
Now, I know we made this more of a playoff thing, but again, the reason I'm wearing the Mitch jersey, Mitch can get 100 points. He's got 100 points. He's got time.
He's going to do it. He will do it. Book it right here. I said it first. He will do it.
I would love to see it for multiple reasons. First reason, the statistical, because this would be the first time, A, that the team had 2 100-point scorers on the same team. And B, you just add Mitch onto the list that Austin just joined with only Sittler, Daryl Sittler, and Doug Gilmour. Those three are the only three right now with 100-point seasons ever in the history of this team that's over 100 years old.
Yeah, I saw that, man. The first 50-win season. That's crazy. I couldn't believe that.
The fact that these guys had a 50-win season before the Leafs did.
Coyotes had one before them. 09-10.
Man.
The Coyotes, yeah. The good old Ilya Brzgalov days.
Yeah.
Those Yotes won 50 games before the Maple Leafs did.
This team's so weirdly cursed.
They are.
It's so weirdly cursed.
And here's the other thing, I think, as far as Tampa's, and just to wrap this up.
No. I want to get this other Mitch point out there. One of our buddies on the Discord, Cthulhu. Shouting Cthulhu. I'm calling you out, buddy. He made a bet that if both Austin and Mitch get 100 points, he's going to get a Mitchie jersey.
Yeah. Well, okay, so he's committed to it. He's going to get a Mitchie.
He's committed to the Mitchie jersey at this point.
Well, I mean, he should just pre-order it, to be honest with you.
And just go ahead and get your wallet ready, Cthulhu. Okay, so the Toronto Tampa. Yeah, wrap this up.
The other reason I think you would want to play Tampa is because they've won back-to-back Stanley Cups. If you lose the series, it buys you more time because people won't look at it as much of, oh, Toronto choked in the playoffs. It's just oh, they lost to Tampa. And this would give Dubas an excuse to run it back.
Right.
That's my other point.
Right. It would
seriously,
give him,
I think that they could beat the Lightning.
It would give him more time. Yeah.
Whereas if you were to lose to Boston, I don't think you could justify running it back.
No. If you lost to Boston again, God forbid, you're making changes.
Yeah.
And you're making big core decision changes.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's my point. And we can move on from that, but
good luck to these guys. I love this jersey.
It's a nice jersey.
Dude,
they got sweet uniforms, man.
I know. And I was really I was debating getting just the classic blue or getting a reversible, the Drew House one, which looks sick. Literally, the black jersey is fucking amazing.
I would have gotten just going with the road whites. I like the road whites.
The road whites are very clean.
The only problem is the only thing that's not clean about them is when I get nacho stains on them.
Yeah, it's easier to pour beer on this than it is.
Yeah, Man, you get beer on a white jersey, it's chips for you.
You're fucked. Yeah. So there's this kid that is the first kid since I want to say Connor to get granted exceptional status, and his name's Michael Misa.
Sure.
So
You're gonna have to drive this one. I have not heard about this. I haven't done any research on it.
I just heard about it the other day. So yeah, I think this is the first kid since Connor to get exceptional status, which for those of you that don't know, which is probably most of you, unless you're as much nerds as we are, right? Exceptional status basically just means you can enter the OHL draft a year early, because the minimum age for most players to go into the OHL is 16. This kid's 15, and he's going to go ahead and enter the draft into the OHL.
Interesting.
So I'm looking at this. Oh my God. This just makes me feel old looking at his elite prospects page. This kid is 10 years younger than me.
Jesus.
This kid was born in 2007. I mean, Cole Cylinder's 2003.
2007, dude. That's when Anaheim won a cup.
I know.
Good fucking Lord.
I know. When Cole was born, that was the last Devil's Cup. Like, do you not just feel old after reading that?
Old as shit. Thanks a lot.
Oh my God. He is 5'10", $150, shoots left. He's a forward. He's been playing for Mississauga Senators. Okay. And it looks like they don't really, never mind. They don't have regular and postseason statistics for him for that. But for tournaments, okay, here we go. Toronto Bulldogs in 16-17, which would have been what? He would have been like 10. 6 games played, 6 goals, 12 assists, 18 points when he was 10 years old. And then this year in a tournament playing with his AAA team, Senators under 16, in the OHL Cup, 7 games, 10 and 10 for 20 points.
It's ridiculous.
I think I could see why he got exceptional status now.
I would say so as well.
Now, granted, this kid, you know, like we said, he's only 15, so he's not going to even enter the draft until what, like 25, 26?
3 years. Yeah, 25. 25.
But this is another kid to keep your eye on. Like, we talk about prospects here and there, and we've talked about Shane Wright. We've talked about Connor Bedard. We've talked about Mishkov. Which, by the way, how good fucking Bedard.
Yeah.
This kid is going to be so good.
He is.
Y'all got to put Misa on your radars, people. Like,
yeah, for real. I need to put him on my radar. I didn't know who he was until like a week ago. And then I did look into him.
I know. I can't wait to see who he plays for in the O. Right? You know?
How cool would it be if he went to Steelheads?
Oh, if he just stayed in Mississauga?
Yeah.
It'd be fun. It'd be nice for Erie to get him.
For real.
Just to see Mark gush about him.
Just get live updates from him all the time.
I reached out and he never got back to me.
We'll figure it out at some point.
Yeah, we'll get him on. But yeah, Misa, put him on your radars, people. Kid sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
No wonder he got exceptional status. We'll see how he does. And I'm definitely going to be keeping my eyes on that here and there.
Overrated prospect. His name's not Connor.
He's not a Connor McDavid. He's not a Connor Bedard. He's not a Connor McMichael.
Yeah.
He's not a Connor Mick.
He's not a Kyle Connor.
He's not a Kyle Connor.
He's not a Connor Hellebuck. He's not a Connor Sheary.
He's not a Connor Murphy. Hard turn. I want to extend condolences to Isles fans. Rest in peace, Mike Bossy.
Yeah. That was a sad one, man.
That was a sad one, and really young too. Like, I know he was battling cancer, which is a bitch in itself.
It is. Yeah, it's the worst. But
I can't remember what kind of cancer it was. I mean, I know it doesn't really matter because cancer is cancer. But I mean, this guy, very much a face of those 4 cups.
Maybe one of the most underappreciated stars ever.
If it wasn't for his back, he would have had Gretzky's records himself.
Yeah, he was that good.
Only 65, dude.
Yeah, it's a shame.
It's such a shame. And again, he was a face with Gillies, with Potvin, with Trottier. Trottier and Bossy are 2 of, like, you know, like, I think all 3 of Trottier, Gillies, and Bossy, because I feel like Potvin is one of the first names that pops into people's minds. I think Bossy is too, but at the same time, in terms of the way he played, very underrated in those. Obviously, way before our time.
It's crazy to think that a team that won 4 straight Stanley Cups has so many names on it of guys who are great, but not appreciated enough.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, you know, that's the biggest thing with Bossy and Trottier especially.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, Bossy was premier goal scorer.
One of the best.
And again, if it wasn't for his back, he probably would have
Been
Gretzky's record. Yeah, he probably would have been the best. So condolences to Isles fans and the organization and everybody. I know they've already added, they're both wearing 9 and 22 patches for the remainder of the season.
Yeah.
For Gillies and now Bossy. Yeah, good way to honor. They're both already retired in the rafters, so it's like, you know, what else really can you do?
Not much, but it's a good way to honor, especially with
how much time's left.
Man, that sucks for the Islanders because the second half of the season they've shown that they are such a good team, and start the season was just such a fluke, and they're going to miss the playoffs because of it, and that sucks for them. They lose a year that they could really, really compete,
and that they could really use those, like losing your legends as like some sort of a rally.
Yeah,
because they lost 2 huge stars for when they were at their peak.
As a franchise, no doubt about it. I know who's breathing a heavy sigh of relief today that they're not in the playoffs. That's the Tampa Bay Lightning. Because even though they've beaten them the last 2 years in the playoffs, it has been a bitch.
The Islanders are like the only team that really gave Tampa any fits.
Yeah, especially last year. Good God. They beat Florida in 6, beat Carolina in 5. The Stanley Cup final was their easiest series.
They took it. The Islanders were the only ones that really pushed them to 7 either time.
Yeah, they pushed them to 7, and it was a 1-goal game in Game 7.
Wasn't the bubble 7 as well?
I think it went 6, but a lot of those games went to overtime.
But those were really grindy. Yeah, those ones went down to the wire. But yeah, all the best to Bossy and his family and the Isles organization and Isles fans going through this grieving process. We all know what that's like.
Yeah.
Especially for us with Matisse, like, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Matisse, like it's a different situation with us because Matisse was so young.
Mm-hmm.
And Bossy had been retired for years and was just already a legend in his own right for the Islanders.
Yeah.
But it's
And also just like the ways that they happened to, like, one was really unfortunate.
Tragic
health
accident,
condition,
and one
and
was
then the other was a tragic accident. Like, it's just so sad.
yeah.
So rest in peace to an unbelievable great one.
In Mike Bossy, yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of great ones, Carey's back.
That was just the battle of, like, storylines heading into the game, like in terms of like rallying cries. Like, the Islanders, had just gotten the news of Mike Bossy, and they're facing the Canadiens, who are getting Carey Price back. You know what I mean? I didn't like. I was looking at that game. I was like, wow, what a matchup! An emotional night for both sides.
Very,
Good
very, yeah.
on the ice, man.
And no wonder they all played their hearts out.
Mm-hmm.
Carey made 17 saves,
Yeah.
which wasn't the greatest. I mean, probably felt nice for him to not have the biggest workload in the world.
Yeah. Would have liked to win, but you can't win if your team doesn't score. So not much you
Right.
can do.
It's good. It's
Still good to see him back.
It's so good to see Carey back. And I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
Like, just mentally.
Yeah.
We know he faced a lot of demons this year with going through the substance program, and I say substance issues player assistance program, because he did say that it was substance abuse, did he not?
He did. I'm not sure. Obviously, I'm not sure what substance it was, but
It doesn't matter.
yeah, it does. It does not matter. All I know is I'm just happy he's back and that he's okay. More importantly than anything.
Oh yeah. Hopefully, he gets maybe a couple more to finish the year, just to see how he is, and he can take this off season and just get back into shape.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'll, have a new system under Marty.
They need to keep Marty, man. I don't think that the Canadiens are as bad as we think they are.
No, because
he is their coach, Carey Price back in net. I'm not saying they're not a playoff team, but I don't think they're as bad as we thought they were.
No, they're absolutely going to improve next. There's nowhere to go but up with this. Literally.
Yeah.
But like, seriously, with Caulfield turning back into a Calder finalist over the second half of this year under Marty, literally under Marty St. Louis, if he would have started the year,
you can make an argument that he could have won the Calder.
He would have gotten 91 points, Jay. He would have been on pace for 91 points in 82 games.
Now, granted, you'd have to imagine there'd be a slump in there or whatnot, but you could legitimately argue he probably would have gotten 70 points. Is that fair?
70 plus, yes.
If he finishes the season with 70 points exactly, that's enough for the Calder, I think.
I think so. I mean,
even with as good as Mo Seider is,
well,
and how good Lucas Raymond is, I think that's Calder worthy.
I think I saw.
I mean, it'd be more than what Michael Bunting is probably going to finish the season with, because he's at 63 right now, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say I saw that earlier today or yesterday that Bunting is leading scoring with 63 points.
Mm-hmm.
At least for rookies. But yeah, I mean, biggest thing is just welcome back Harry, right?
Yeah.
Huge for the Habs. This is a weird story that came out like yesterday on The Athletic, that there were two, I want to say one of them was an athletic trainer and the other was just a general trainer. Two trainers sued the Philly Flyers over, basically there was a cancer, like I never got the time to read the article today, but there was like exposure to Zamboni chemicals that ended up becoming cancerous for these two people.
I had not heard that. I think we should save that for when we've read it.
Yeah, you want to save that for like Saturday?
That's interesting, though.
Just digest it.
We should read it. Yeah, I want to read. I want to get the chance to read that because I didn't see it, but that's interesting.
I was gonna say, how's that for a tease then, eh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's a weird story. Because literally, I just read the headline and I was like,
heard anything like that before. I didn't know that Zambonis had chemicals that could be potentially hazardous, I guess.
Yeah, two Flyers trainers sue. Lawsuit claims exposure to Zamboni chemicals led to cancer. That's what the headline just from the notification says.
But they're trainers. What are they doing by that Zamboni? It's interesting. I'm going to read it. I'm interested in this. I'm very interested.
I was going to say, do you have an athletic sub too? Because
yeah, I can get one.
Because I could just go ahead and read it with mine and then just send you like snippets or whatever. But if you want to go ahead and pay for that and read it yourself and make notes,
go ahead and do that, and we'll go from there. But that's an interesting story we can talk about on Saturday.
We'll dive into that on Saturday. But I want to finish with happy anniversary, dude. Happy Sweep-iversary.
Oh, when you said happy anniversary, I was like, has it been a year yet?
No, that's in the summer.
Like, holy shit.
I mean, dude, we're already. Dude, can you believe we've been doing this since like June, July, and it's April?
I was gonna say I think we started like we started around the draft. It was started
around the expansion draft. Yeah.
Interesting.
How is it already?
But sweep 3 years to the day we swept the Tampa Bay Lightning. Last team to beat the Tampa Bay Lightning in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Just saying.
These guys right here.
Yeah. You could say we are directly responsible for them winning back
for 2 Stanley Cups.
Because we swept them and they were like, oh, fuck that.
I want to reflect on this, though, a little bit before, because I know because we started at just before 3, so we're already over like an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
But just the way that this team turned it around, the way Yarmo went into the deadline saying, okay, we know what we have, but we know we can be better, and we're going to go all in.
He rewarded the fans.
He rewarded the fans big time.
Because many years of us just retooling the roster of like this guy, like, whether it be, he wasn't responsible for it, but getting Jeff Carter, and then Jeff Carter doesn't want to stay here. And then we have Rick Nash, and we got to deal Rick Nash because we're not winning. We draft Ryan Johansson, he becomes a really good player, and then we have to trade him.
Because he wasn't what we needed.
We get Brandon Saad, and
God, I miss Sauter. I'm glad he's doing.
So we get Panarin, and then Panarin might leave, and Bobrovsky might leave. There's so much frustration. He said, "Fuck it, I am not going to sell these pieces."
Well, especially because he knew that this offseason, that this happened.
Mm-hmm.
More than likely, he was going to lose Bob, and more than likely, we were going to lose Brett.
Well, I think we were always going to lose Bob simply because we weren't willing to pay him the money that he was going to get.
Right.
So, and plus, they believed in Korpisalo at the time, and they also had Merzlikins coming over, so they were like, well, we don't really need to keep this guy. So, they knew that they were probably going to lose Panarin. So they said, you know what? And here's the thing, Jake, man.
We're going to show these two guys that we're here to compete.
So they go out and they get Matt Duchene. They trade a lot for Matt Duchene.
Yeah, they did.
And they traded a lot for
because they got Dzingel, basically the same day.
They got Dzingel first.
They did get Dzingel first.
And a lot of people were like, ooh, interesting move. And then it's just bam.
Well, it was like it clicked for the rest of the regular season. And then poor Dzingel just had nothing.
Well, and that's the thing. That's the thing that I think people forget is they made these moves like we're going to make the playoffs. And then the first 10 games, they sucked.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my God, are we going to miss the fucking playoffs? But then they got it together.
Bob had 3 shutouts in the last 8.
Just snuck in. And then
a 30-point gap between the playoff series because, like, wow.
And good God,
because
they kicked their ass up and down the ice.
Well,
for every single period except for the first period of game one.
Oh, right. The 19 to 8 was the overall goal differential in the series.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it felt like a wash after climbing the first mountain. The Bolts were never really in it.
It was amazing. I think one of the least talked about moments of the series. Obviously, you go down 3-0 in game one.
Bob's save that kept it 3-0.
Yeah, that big save. That was a big save. And then they come
turning point.
win the game. Do you know what I thought was a big moment? That's not talked about enough.
What?
The very next game, you go up 3-0. Tampa's starting to buzz a little bit in the third period. They get a goal. It goes off a skate and into the net. Got about 8 minutes or about 10 minutes left. You know, they're starting to buzz a little bit.
Right.
And then, 2 minutes later, Riley Nash with a fucking bullet.
Just the dagger.
Just
of a shot.
Out of nowhere. Just the best shot of his career by far. Rifles it past Vasilevsky.
I will say I love your appreciation for, the underappreciated guys like Riley.
Yeah. He just because he's so good defensively. Like he is the ultimate low action player.
Yep.
He doesn't do anything offensively.
You mentioned that.
But like seriously, like when he's on the ice, nothing happens.
Right.
But in that moment, he got the people.
Something happened.
The defender in front of him. Just one of the best shots I think I've ever seen. And it came from Riley Nash. That's the one that put the game on ice.
You could say something happened when he was on that side.
Yeah, 100%. And then, it sucked the life out of Tampa. Like, oh my God, we're going to go down 0-2. And then,
they were like,
after that, the incredible play. They get the puck from low to high, get it out to Matt Duchene. One touch pass, wide open Panarin for an open net. Unbelievable passing play. They go up 5-1. They win that game. They go back.
The Jones and Bread connection, and I want to say it was game 3 was huge. Just how pretty that passing was.
They get the goal from Oliver Bjorkstrand and in game 3.
I do want to mention just the rest of. I want to mention the rest of the pieces, right? Because we talk about getting Matt Duchene. 10 goals in 10 games during the run. He was awesome.
He was as advertised, man.
He was exactly what he thought he needed to be.
Any of the narratives about Matt Duchene as a player in terms of getting it done in the playoffs and whatnot, those were all erased with how he played.
Oh yeah. And then Dzingel, I feel bad for Ryan because he just kind of got snake bit really bad. But then, the other moves that Jarmo made to make sure that we were ready.
They got McQuaid.
They got Adam McQuaid to bolster the defense. They got Keith. They got their third goalie in Keith Kincaid.
Locker room guy.
And obviously injury, just insurance.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of insurance with the McQuaid and the Kincaid moves, but those were huge.
Those guys played in the playoffs, but those are still two moves that Jarmo wanted to make.
And those were moves that were really wise to make.
I think so. In the grand scheme of things, when you're trying to make a playoff push, especially a team like the Blue Jackets, what does the future in terms of a 4th round pick or 5th round pick really matter?
Right.
We're trying to.
If you don't see a guy like Vitaly Abramov in your long-term plans, if you don't see a guy.
And in defense of the Blue Jackets, Vitaly Abramov and Jonathan Davidson haven't done anything for the Senators.
Abramov had a couple of small bright spots, but other than that, no.
Now, granted, the Magic Beans pick that we gave them for Duchene became Lassie Thompson, who I think.
And Lassie's been great for them.
But still, in terms of the players that you gave up that you drafted, Vitaly Abramov and Jonathan Davidson, neither one of those guys panned out for them. So like it makes the deals even better. And you didn't give up guys that you really needed.
Right. Excuse me. But I mean, like, think it's already been like 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And Tampa's won back-to-back cups. Could be going for a third.
Yeah. I will say this. Abramov is a member of HCCSKA Moscow of the KHL. So he played 5 games with the Senators in his career. I'm not sure if he's still with them.
No?
I'm not sure if he's on loan to them or if he's just gone and just playing in the KHL.
Huh.
So that's interesting.
Huh.
Let's see about Jonathan Davidson.
Well, then, on the Lightning side, too, it was like, Victor Hedman was hurt. He had a broken foot that he was playing through. And then the team plane thing that came out that really screwed over literally any post, regular season celebration for anybody ever.
Yeah. Davidson is 25 years old now, and he's playing for HV 71 in the SHL.
At least he's playing in a nice pro league.
Yeah, no, 100%. But neither one of those guys are really
there anymore. Yeah,
they're really not guys for Ottawa's future.
Well, no.
So, sure. Like if you give up, like I don't really care if you give up draft picks and they become something, whatever. Lassie Thompson becoming good for them. I hope he's good for them. But when you give up prospects that you drafted yourself and they don't pan out for another team in a trade, it's kind of a nice feeling.
Kind of, yeah. Especially when you end up getting the better end of the stick with, I don't know, a sweep against the President's Trophy winners when you're the last team in. And
they did lose in the second round, but it's different standards for different teams. If a team made these kinds of, if the Boston Bruins made these kinds of trades and lost the second round, people wouldn't view it as a success. But we're the Blue Jackets. We've never won a series before. That was huge for us.
It was huge for the organization. It was huge for the fan base to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And now, we're retooling a little bit, just a little bit. And the expectations are still fairly high with this team.
Yeah, I mean, you would hope after this off season that they can maybe compete for a playoff spot next year.
You would be investing in Line. You're investing in Bjorkstrand and Boone and Jake and Z and Boki and Vlad and Elvis. You have the core to invest in.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the young guys like KJ, like Cole, like Nick, if you decide to keep Nick, like Gabe. You have young guys that you can invest in, and Chinny is in there too. I mean, how could I forget fucking Jaegerbomb?
Yeah.
You have guys that you
got other guys coming in. KJ just came, and Marchenko is going to come, and Veronka is going to come, and those are really good players. And the other guys.
And then you have your good,
Corson Coolmans.
Your guy Corson. You have your guys. you have your guys that decided, yes, I want to stick around and see where this goes. Your Gus Nyquist, your Justin Danforths, your Sean Corrales.
Justin Danforth, baby.
Like we've talked about
my
Columbus.
Two favorite fourth line centers, Sean Corrales and Justin Danforth.
We talk about the culture that this team is building, and it's huge. And it all started with this sweep of Tampa.
I think it did. Yeah. I'm excited about this, man. I'm excited where this team's going to go.
Oh, I'm very excited. And I'm hoping that these guys can do something like next year. And I'm hoping that these guys can do something this year.
Yeah. And I'm hoping these guys can make the hockey world laugh and make it in over the Golden Knights. Because that would be amazing.
That would be so good.
Did you catch the new hat?
Didn't.
Official Masters hat.
That's awesome. That's cool. That's great.
I'm
not that much of a golf guy, but that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, my uncle went down to Augusta and got me a T-shirt and a hat. And he also got me my own Masters ball marker from when I go.
Beautiful,
This
beautiful.
weekend.
We have San Jose tonight to recap, and I will be at Nationwide on Friday.
Mark it down.
So
Columbus is gonna win tonight.
if I see y'all, I'll say hi. And I'm gonna try to go visit Mike Todd. Hi, Mike.
Yeah, visit Mike Todd, like DM him and just tell him I said hi.
Oh yeah.
Get a pic.
I'm definitely gonna go over and say hi to Mike. And I'll see you guys there, and it'll be a fun game to recap because I'll be right there close. Dude, it's my usual section. It's 118. I love 118. Goal. Like BB goal. So I don't know exactly where that is, but it sounds like it's really fucking close.
Hell yeah. Also, say hi to Sean Corelli for me. Kiss.
I'm gonna say hi to all of our local kids. Yeah.
But most importantly, Sean Corelli.
Most importantly, Sean Corelli. It's gonna be fun to watch Brady Kachuk too, and Batherson and all those guys. Stützle.
Well, it's going to be fun to watch Drake Batherson and Tim Stützle. How long does it take for us to get irritated by Brady Kachuk?
Brady, yeah. It's going to be really, really fun. And just, this is my first game since my birthday.
Oh, let's go. Happy birthday 2.0.
Squeezing in one more. We'll be around we got an off day on Saturday, so we can just dive into it.
100%.
All right, and we'll see you guys then.
Jake Jackets, a podcast for fifth liners and all puckheads around. Follow the guys on Twitter at Snake Gehringer, GARRINGER, and at by J Ashdown. And subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen. March on.